He squeezed the stone, thinking that if the number on the stone reached 3, he could pass the first star Grandmaster exam. And considering his talent, it should be 4, 5, or even 6, 7, 8, or 9. The number 0.1 appeared on the stone. Zhang Xuan asked irritably, was this a joke? He thought about the fact that after listening to Grandmaster Zheng, he himself believed that he could score even higher than a 4. The minimum value for the rank of Grandmaster was -3, and he had 0.1. What kind of nonsense was that? He didn't believe it. Maybe the stone was in a bad mood. He decided to try again. The stone showed 0.09, then 0.07 and 0.05. Feeling discouraged, Zhang Xuan thought about how the next time he saw Grandmaster Zhen, he should ask about mind cultivation techniques. With such a score, there was nothing to even try to become a Grandmaster. Moving to the Heaven's Path library, he decided to tackle this golden book. Looking at the cover of the book, he asked, what kind of book was the Heavenly Path book? Why did the title only appear now? Crossing his arms, he thought about the fact that it seems like it appeared because his disciples were grateful to him. We should take a good look at her. What could she even do? He thought of the last time he had used this book to convert all the books he had studied into his own knowledge. If this book had such functions, would he be able to create a mind cultivation technique himself? He touched the book and it glowed. Closing his eyes, he thought to himself, was it possible that this book was really meant to cultivate the mind? But then he opened his eyes. Grabbing the corner of the cover, that one opened up. He asked, what is this? Where are all the pages? Why is there only the cover? He thought then that he hadn't just wasted the appearance of this book, had he? So who came up with this joke? Why aren't there any instructions or something? As he walked out of the Heaven's Path library, he thought that he would deal with the state of insight, but he had wasted the appearance of the golden book. But then Zhao Yao walked up to him. The girl asked sadly that did he really want to leave the academy. He replied that yes, he had plans to visit the Tianwu kingdom. Why was she asking? All of his students stood in front of him. Yuan Tao asked, is the one going to Tianwu? Let him take them as well. Zhen Yao told the teacher not to leave them behind. Wang Yin added that they wanted to be with him. Zhang Huang seriously asked that they want to go with him. They must realize that he is heading to a higher level kingdom. These are not games. There will be many dangers there, powerful masters. If they are not careful, it might as well die. He has all he has right now, he will follow him wherever he goes. Zhao Yao that they too. Let the teacher not push them away, but let them continue to be his students. Then they all asked together to take them along. Zhang Huang said that he could take them with him, only they would take different routes. He will ask Grandmaster Zhen and the others to bring them directly to the Tianwu kingdom. When he finishes his business, he will come to them. All 5 of them happily thanked the teacher. In Grandmaster Yang's mansion, Sun Qian loudly asked his master to let him follow them. Zhang Huang in the guise of Zhang Xuan told the fellow that if he wanted to serve him further, the way he would find teacher Zhang Huang at Hongqian Academy tomorrow, and let him follow his orders. From time to time, when he is free, he will appear. Sitting on his knees, the boy replied, okay. Grandmaster added that his development was still low. Holding out a book to the lad, he said that he had created a development technique that would be perfect for him. He hoped that by the next time they met, his strength would match his other strengths. Bleeding tears, the guy thanked the master and promised that he would work hard. Late at night, when it was already dark, Zhang Huang walked to the gate of his classroom, thinking that time was flying fast. He doesn't know where the golden book went, but he needs to prepare for tomorrow's lecture. The next day, the academy's students were once again gathered in the stadium. Someone shouted for the others to see that teacher Zhang was here. The people asked, was this really the same teacher Zhang who was recognized by the 3 grandmasters? Someone replied that more than that, he was a senior to them. The girls admired his beauty, and one guy said that he didn't think he would be so young. He really is a little older than they are. Walking to the center of the ring, Zhang Huang said, okay, first of all he goes to thank them for coming. They will get down to business. What he will talk about today is the very basics of cultivating the initial stages. Someone in the audience asked what could be said about it in general. Zhang Huang said that he wanted to make some amendments to the most famous cultivation techniques. The reasons why he chose this particular topic was that if they had the wrong base knowledge, they wouldn't go far. It would be as if they would drag themselves down. In ordinary cultivation techniques, there is an excess of yang energy. Almost every one of them has a lack of yin, and these energies should be in harmony. If they haven't achieved success for a long time, introducing yin energy won't do any harm. They must perceive it at the level of the senses, experience the world while indoors, teach themselves, and learn from others. Only such a person could be considered wise. Zhang waved his hand, releasing his energy in all directions. Some of the guys sitting in the bleachers began to break through and wondered at this. Someone asked, what's going on? This was completely different from what he knew before. Grandmaster Zhen shockingly said, "This is transmitting the will of the heavens. It is a skill that allows one to turn the power of one's words into energy with which all listeners on an instinctive level begin an enhanced training." Liu added that although it is a basic stage, it is exactly the transmission of more heaven. Grandmaster Zhuang said that transmitting the will of the heavens is a skill not only available to grandmasters. To master it, one must fulfill 2 criteria. First, the content of the lecture must be immersed right into the essence of cultivation, meaning there must not be a single mistake in the teacher's words. Second, the teacher must possess a state of serene waterside insight, and his depth of mind must be at least 3. No wonder he is Grandmaster Yang's disciple. He is amazing. Although Zhang Xuan was only explaining the basics of the first 2 ranks, his words were extremely profound. After hearing his words, everyone seated began to instinctively follow his instructions without realizing it. Due to this aura, the audience was mesmerized by Teacher Zhang's words. They didn't want to miss a single word he said, and everyone had practiced perfectly during the lecture. Bumping into Zhang Huang in one of the corridors of the stadium, Zhang told him that this lecture was incredible. The guy asked the grandmasters that they were here too. Zhang asked the grandmaster if he would let him test his profundity. Zhang awkwardly replied to let them forget about it. His soul depth is too low. He wouldn't want to embarrass himself in front of them. The guy thought about the fact that if they knew that his soul depth was 0.1, they would definitely roll with laughter. Awkwardly wiping after his face with a handkerchief, Zhang asked, "What's too low?" To be able to initiate the transmission of heaven's will, his soul depth level should be at least 3. If he could, he would like to see the value of an elder's soul depth. Zhang Huang asked in surprise, "What is transmitting the will of the heavens? Are they saying that his soul depth is at least 3? Liu replied that it was true. Didn't he check his soul depth after reaching the serene water surface? Zhang Huang wondered if it might be because of the Book of the Heavenly Path. Yesterday, the golden book had mysteriously disappeared. Had he raised his profoundness without even realizing it? Squeezing the stone, he decided that he should give it a try. Zhang asked the guy what's the matter. What is his soul depth value? Zhang Huang shockedly replied that it was 5.05. He thought about the fact that he had tried several times yesterday, but his highest was 0.1. How could he have pumped so much in such a short time? Did the golden book strengthen his mind cultivation by 5 units? Zhang said with a smile, possessing a mind depth of -3, one could safely apply for the first star Grandmaster exam. When his index reaches -6, one could try to get a second star. His soul is already at the 5.05 level. All he has to do is train this state. Zhang added that he could soon become a 2-star Grandmaster as well. Just then, someone approached them from behind. Zhang turned to Lu Sen and asked what's wrong. The guy gave him a valuable admonition, which was to temper his temper and let go of the pulling desire to step out of the shadow of his father's glory. Only by fulfilling these conditions would he be able to reach the serene waterside. Well, that's what happened. They could congratulate him. He had made a breakthrough. Zhang asked with a smile if he had checked the depth. Lu Sen replied that he had. The guy proudly said that his teacher said that with a depth greater than 1.0, there is a 50% chance of becoming a Grandmaster, and at 1.5, there is a 70% chance of becoming a Grandmaster. So 1.8, the 3 Grandmasters and Zhang Huang looked at him without emotion, and Lu Sen, seeing their reactions, asked in surprise that it was incredible, right? Zhang said that he was good. Seeing that the Grandmasters turned to look at Zhang Huang again, Lu Sen asked in surprise, "What?" After hearing his result, shouldn't they praise him more? Why are they all around Zhang? But then he saw the value on Zhang Huang's stone, and shockingly exclaimed that does he really have such a high soul depth? Lu Sen thought to himself that it couldn't be. 5.05. His result doesn't compare in the slightest. He said that he had hit the dirt again. After finishing the public lecture and dealing with the poison Lu Sen's disciples received from the pills, he asked the Grandmasters to escort Zhao Yao, Zheng Yang, and the rest of the disciples. Without further hesitation, Zhang Huang prepared to search for the poison hall, Xuanluo mountain range. Through the dense trees, there was a path adjacent to it where 2 people were walking. Shen Bi, who was walking ahead, said that she had only walked this path once, and it should be noted it was perfectly hidden. One should miss one's turn, and one could be forever in this thicket. But he could be sure of her. 3 days earlier, holding the map in his hands, Zhang Huang said that everything was almost ready. All that was left was to determine the path. Shen Bi came up to him from behind and asked him where he was going. Zhang turned to her and said that he was sending to the Tianwu kingdom. The girl replied that although they are neighboring kingdoms, they are separated by tens of thousands of kilometers. How does he plan to get there? Zhang Huang thought about the fact that there are no trains in this world, but there is something else. He replied to the girl that he planned to travel by animal. The girl came forward and said that she could help. There is a beast train hall in a mountain range nearby. Zhang Xuan was overjoyed and thanked her. Zhang Xuan asked Teacher Shen, what is this Beastmaster Hall? The girl replied that it was the same guild center like alchemists or blacksmiths. These people have tamed many beasts that now serve humans and can travel miles in a very short time. Zhang Xuan thought interestedly. What are airplanes? Eating behind the girl through the forest, he asked her. Do they seem, or that the village is hidden too deep in the mountains? They've been walking for 3 days now. How do they even manage to survive here? The girl turned around, looked at him and replied that the beast hall is known for flying creatures. He must believe it. These creatures are capable of traveling the entire distance. It took them 3 days to travel in an hour. Just then people appeared in front of them and yelled for them to stop. They said that they couldn't go any further. Zhang Xuan grudgingly thought, are these robbers? He had already in this from little things like this, and it often happened in places like this. In front of them stood 2 guys. One was skinny, and the other was large. Shen Bi said that they were from the Tianxuan realm, and were holding their way to the beast hall. The one who was larger asked that the 2 of them were going to the beast hall. The man loudly stated that they could go to the menagerie hall, but it was their way. They occupied it, but he wasn't allowed to finish because someone threw a branch at him, shouting for him to shut up. Who asked them to set up a roadblock here? What kind of impression do they give? It was the guy with the purple hair who asked them to forgive them. They are empty-headed. He's the 7th prince of the Hanu kingdom, Yuntao. They are also heading to the beast hall, but they have one thing to do here. If they don't interfere with them, they can escort them out. Shenbi asked unhappily. Why did they block this road? The prince with a smile on his face began to approach them, telling them not to worry. There is no malicious intent here. He is taking the 1-star Beastmaster exam. He has already passed the first test, and if he tames a rank 6 beast, he will pass the exam. Yun Tao explained that they stopped them because there was a golden panther on this road that he was going to tame. This wild beast is very fast, so they wanted to trap the animal. They tracked it for about 10 days, so they calculated that it must be in these areas, and if they followed this road, they might scare it away, and if they do that, it'll undo all their efforts. He said he hoped they understood him. If because of the delay caused by them, they are somehow hurt, after catching the golden panther, he will reimburse them everything. Shenbi asked Zhang Xuan if they could wait a little longer. He replied with a smile, why not? The prince thanked happily, and asked if he could find out how he should address them. The girl replied that she was Shenbi, and this was Zhang Xuan. The prince cheerfully said that is how. He is pleased to meet them. Could he find out why such an attractive lady was heading to the beast hall? If everything went smoothly, he would pass the tamer exam, and if so, his word would mean a lot in the beast hall. The one of the larger men thought about the fact that he had chased everyone away like this before. Why? Shenbi replied that she was grateful for his favor, but they were only going to hire a flying beast, so they probably wouldn't need his help. Yun Tao said that since it was fate itself that brought them together, they shouldn't refuse his help just out of politeness. Although the heavenly beasts offered by the beast hall might look the same, since they were trained by equal trainers, they would have different levels of stamina and reactions. If they choose a bad beast, and they meet a wild celestial beast along the way, they could be in trouble. Shenbi replied that she would not want to take up his time. The prince replied that it would not be any inconvenience to him either. He had been training for 12 years now. They came to a clearing where several men were exploring the area, laying out flags. Zhang Xuan thought about the fact that they were building such a primitive trap, digging a hole and covering it with branches. Could it be a formation? Although there was a lot of information about formations in the Royal Library, they only talked about the most basic ones. For example, how to create a formation and activate it was not mentioned at all. Zhang pointed his finger at the clearing and asked the prince that could these few flags really catch the golden panther he was talking about. The prince smugly replied that of course. This trap is magnificent and perfect. I mean, is he something in formations? Zhang scratched himself awkwardly and replied that he was a layman and had never studied the art of formations. The other one apparently knows a lot about formations. The prince went ahead and said that he not only trains as a beastmaster, he learns formations in his spare time, and is now an assistant formation master, so he knows quite a bit about them. Shenbi and Zhang Xuan looked at each other, not understanding what assistant formation master meant. The prince said that he would explain to them. Already far ahead, Yun Tao said that this formation is called the Green Forest Confinement Formation. The core of this information is 36 heavenly spirits. Flags are placed on the 72 points of earthly spirits. The tree elements are collected. These flags emit the spiritual energy of 8 different elements. Because of this, once this formation is activated, it shows incredible power. He added that once they are set up, he will begin to take action. If he succeeds, when the Golden Panther steps into the circle, its life will be safe, but it won't be able to escape either. Yuntao stuck one in the shadows of the flag into the ground. A blue hexagon formed around it and energy began to spread out. Zhang Xuan thought that this was incredible. Moving to the library of the heavenly path, Zhang took the book that appeared in his hand. He thought about the fact that Yuntao was a construction figure, and just like the figures of alchemists or fighters, their process could summon a book in the library of the heavenly path. He would see what it said. Opening the book, he began to say that the construction of the green forest imprisonment, the construction of the wood element. The flags for the construction must be made of laurel wood. The construct must stop the movements of the target to whom it is applied. It was invented 3 centuries ago by the master of 2-star constructions, Tao Yuan. Flaws, 17. First, straightening up, Yuntao shook out his hands, saying that all he had to do now was wait for the beast to be caught. But Zhang told him that he had activated the formation a little wrongly. Perhaps it wouldn't work at full capacity. The prince looked at his teacher unhappily and asked, did he really doubt the power of his formation? The men working in the clearing began to shout that he, not knowing anything about formations, was insulting the prince's formation. How could such a dork have the nerve to evaluate a formation built by His Highness? The prince said that he bought this formation from the Guild of Formation Masters for a high price. Even an entry-level 7th-rank master caught in it wouldn't get out, and there was nothing to speak of a 6th-rank beast. But Zhang said that he meant it to me, and Shenbi warned him that they should not interfere. Yuntao said that the teachings in the formations are as deep and vast as the ocean. This green forest confinement formation, and its effect is amplified if it is near trees. Considering that the place he chose is full of trees and bushes, it suits him best. Later he would see for himself how good it was and that it would easily catch the golden panther. Just then, the crunching of a branch was heard in the distance. The prince noticed it. He shouted to one of the men to light it. The man took out a small wick, lit it, and started handing it out. Zhang Xuan and Shenbi stood behind a bush. The guy asked, "What is this?" The girl replied that it was most likely the pheromones of a female golden panther. When they are set on fire, there is an incredibly strong odor, and although it is repugnant to humans but very strongly attracted to male golden panthers. On the forest path walked a huge beast whose fur was golden in color. It was a golden panther. Its large white fangs stood out brightly. The prince told him to get ready to activate the formation. Yuntao realized that things were not good. The golden panther noticed that something was wrong. The animal began to sniff and swivel its head, looking at the surroundings. The prince ordered the soldiers to attack to anger it. The man shouted to the archers to get ready, noticing many arrows flying at him. At the last moment he ducked and the arrows stuck into the ground. The prince ordered to keep firing. The beast started running through the arrows, heading straight for the trap. He began to activate it, telling it that everything was going according to plan. Let the one now experience the power of the build. Once inside the magic cube, the panther slammed its head into one of its walls. Zhang Xuan watched this in surprise and thought to himself, is this the formation? He would be more careful with formation masters now. Yuntao started to approach the panther, extending his arm forward. He said with a smile that they would watch the one escape. The guy turned his back to the panther, who was angry, and slapped a paw on one of the walls. He said with a smile, the green forest imprisonment formation set in such a wooded place absorbs wood energy. Its defense is strengthened. The golden panther wouldn't have the strength to break it. But then the soldiers began to look at His Highness excitedly. One of them said that something seemed to be wrong. Another told the prince to be more careful. One of the flags fell down, making the walls of the cage disappear. The head of a huge panther was right next to the prince's head. The one with the bear asked, what are they talking about? It's a formation from the Green Forest Imprisonment Guild itself. But turning his head, he looked over to the panther. The prince fell to the ground and the panther roared. The soldiers shouted that the formation was destroyed. The prince must be rescued. The soldiers rushed at the beast, but the beast turned its back on them and swung its tail, throwing 4 of them off at once. The panther then looked toward the bushes. Shenbi said fearfully that the one had seen them. When the animal started to approach them, the girl fell to the ground, starting to slowly crawl away. And Zhang Xuan stretched his hand forward, telling the beast to wait. It was those people who wanted to catch it, and they had nothing to do with it. But the golden panther roared again, raising its paw. But in the next instant, Zhang Xuan gave the panther a powerful slap, causing blood to spurt out of its mouth. Yuntao and Shenbi were shocked. With this slap, the panther flew off and hit a tree. Shaking out his hands, Zhang Xuan said unsatisfiedly, he had said that it was those who wanted to catch him. Why would they attack him? Yuntao thought about the fact that this is a rank 6 golden panther, with strength comparable to a rank 7 initial stage. It has very powerful defenses, yet it is being shaken like a rag. Writhing its muzzle in pain, the beast stood up, straightening up. In the next instant, it rushed towards Zhang Xuan at a tremendous speed. At the latter, the panther calmly asked, isn't the panther giving up? Frowning his eyebrows, the teacher added that after all, that one was only a wild beast. It was useless to talk to him. Zhang grabbed its tail with one hand. Its eyes immediately rounded in surprise. In the next instant, Zhang began to flip the beast from one side to the other, holding its tail with one hand. Yuntao wondered in surprise. What kind of power is this? The one at the peak of the 7th rank? Or maybe a half step away from the 8th rank? A hemisphere away from the 8th rank? Was he bragging to an almost 8th rank master? When the panther was almost unconscious, Zhang stopped and said, "Yep," he hoped that the one would stop now. Letting go of the beast's tail, Zhang turned to Teacher Shen and said with a smile that they could go. But on shaky legs, the panther rose again. Getting up from the ground, Shenbi warned Teacher Zhang. The one turned to the panther unhappily and asked, "What again?" The one wasn't finished yet. But the prince exclaimed in surprise that no. He thought to himself, is this a voluntary conquest? Is the golden panther really going to do this? The panther bowed its head before Zhang Xuan. Yuntao, who was watching this, thought about the fact that he had been following this beast for several days to complete the beast to mare exam. Now the beast had submitted to someone else, staying behind the beast's back at a safe distance. The prince shouted to Master Zhang that this golden panther had decided to submit to him. If he was willing to accept it, let him stroke its head and give it a drop of his blood. After that, she will obey him for the rest of her life. Zhang interjected, was it really completely obedient? With an uncomprehending raised eyebrow, Zhang asked, why did he submit after the beating? It seems that taming beasts is an easy thing to do. These words were like a blow to the prince's head. Zhang asked the panther if he could fly. Even the animals felt awkward, and Shen Bi said that she didn't think he could fly. Zhang and quite thought about it then. He is of no use to him. He is going to the Qianwu kingdom, which is tens of thousands of kilometers away. No matter how fast this beast can run, it won't be able to reach the Qianwu kingdom faster than a month or two. He needs a flying beast. But then he told the panther that he doesn't care. As long as it wants to obey him, it's fine with him. Then let him take them to the beast hall. But at this moment, the prince stood beside the panther, who made cute eyes and raised a paw. Yuntao said that the golden panther was badly injured. It has to recover for at least half a month before it can move freely again. Zhang Huang shockedly asked, recovering for half a month. He thought about heading to the assured flying beast rental hall because he didn't know when the poison would take effect. His life was at risk as long as that poison remained in his body. Spending half a month here for a beast he didn't need would be a great loss. He told the prince that he was an apprentice to a beast tamer. Does he know ways to heal wounds quickly? The prince scratched the back of his head and said that the physical structure of a wild beast was different from the physical nature of a human, but the methods to speed up their healing were similar. The first method. But Zhang interrupted him, telling him to just say the fastest one. Yuntao replied that the fastest way was to help the panther break through. Then its body would be as good as new. But that was only for grandmasters. Zhang Huang thought about the fact that when she attacked, he didn't try to find out more about her, so there was no book about her in the library yet. If he wanted to help her break through, he needed to find out more about her. With a twinkle in his eyes, he looked at the panther, thinking, okay, then they'll start. Seeing the guy's gaze, the panther meowed fearfully. Zhang raised his hand with a smile, telling the panther to look this way. The animal incomprehensibly brought its head closer to his hand. In the next instant, Zhang slapped the panther again, causing it to pass out and collapse to the ground. Zhang crouched down beside him, placing his hand on his mane. Yuntao, who was standing next to Shen Bi, shockedly thought to himself, wasn't he going to heal him? What is he doing? Lightly patting the panther's cheek, Zhang Huang said, okay, let it wake up now. The panther raised its head, and Zhang asked if it had woken up. The beast immediately hid behind a tree fearfully. Zhang grudgingly said that there was no need to look at him like that. Let him ask, does the one want to recover from his injuries immediately? Also, does the one want to break through to the 7th rank? Rising from his squat, Zhang added that if the one wanted to, let them continue. Otherwise, he would leave right away. He can remain the king of the mountain and... But before he could finish, the panther smiled, starting to nod his head. The panther walked out to the guy, and the guy said fine, let him come over to him. Yuntao asked, what are you up to? He shouldn't help him with his treatment, right? Around Zhang Huang's hand, his blue energy appeared. He told the animal that he would help him break through now, so let him stand still. After touching the panther's head, Zhang began to transmit his power, and there were huge waves of energy around them. Yuntao asked in surprise, what was the one pouring his energy into the panther to help it break through? Shen Bi sighed awkwardly, thinking about the fact that she had almost forgotten about his strange methods. Previously, he had done other things like this. This kind of thing was no longer surprising at all. Additional fur appeared on the panther's chest. Its paws became stronger and also covered in fur. The panther made a breakthrough with a loud roar. The prince fell to his knees, thinking to himself, did he really succeed? Could it really be so easy to make a beast break through? But even a 2-star beast master would spend several years on this. This guy just slammed the panther a few times and made it break through. Zhang Xuan exhaled tiredly, thinking about the fact that due to the sheer size of the golden panther, the amount of chi it took to break through was several times more than that of a human cultivator. These were completely different levels. It seems like such tricks won't pass in the future. After stroking the animal's nose, Zhang Xuan said with a smile, now that the matter was done, they could move out. He said that they were heading to the beast hall, so they would no longer interfere with the principle to tame wild beasts. He said goodbye to him and then called out to Shenbi. The woman said that she was coming. The prince grudgingly thought to continue catching. The one had caught his only target, but he asked him to wait for a moment, and then asked him if he could explain one thing to him. The guy got up from the ground and asked how the one realized that there was a mistake in his formation. Zhang replied that it was simple. The construction of the green forest confinement is built using flags made of spotted laurel, and requires a wooden element to keep it functional, but the one thing he didn't take into account was the mountain range they were standing on. The prince asked incomprehensibly, what mountain range? When he bought this green forest imprisonment formation, he had tried to set it up once, and there was no problem then. Even an entry-level master of the 7th rank would have a hard time overcoming this formation. Zhang crouched down and touched the ground with his hand, saying that the mountain range stretched from north to south and looked imposing and firm. An air current descends from it and does not move. Plants that grow on soil that is poor in nutrients have a yellow hue, and the hills along the mountain range have a slight tinge of red. From this we can conclude that there is a metal deposit under the mountain. Of all the 5 elements, it is metal that opposes wood. Thus, the confining structure opposed the metal element beneath it. So how could it utilize its full power? The prince shockingly thought about what his teacher had once said, that one couldn't just focus on choosing a geographical area. More importantly, one must take into account the strength of the environment, the pressure of the heavens, and even the influence of the stars, considering all these factors in one's construction. To infer the presence of a metal deposit just based on the color of the ridges and the direction in which the mountains extended, and deduce that it affected the limiting formation. What kind of recognition ability was this? Even a 3-star formation master found it difficult to do so. Zhang Xuan and Shenbi sat on the golden panther's back. The guy told the prince that they were now leaving. Yuntao therefore about how he will definitely not be able to catch the beast now. He said that they will also be going back. Is it okay to go with them? Zhang pointed to the panther's back and replied that a 3rd person would fit in here. But then what about his companions? The prince laughed and told Master Zhang not to worry about them. They would be able to get here on their own. Zhang smiled and told them to go then. The sun was bright and they were quickly making their way through the forest. Zhang could feel the panther breathing heavily. He thought about the fact that it looked like 3 people had an impressive weight after all. He said that they should let it rest. They stopped at a small clearing. Shenbi and Yuntao sat down on the rocks. The golden panther lay down in the shade of the trees and fell asleep. Zhang Xuan stroked his back, thinking about the fact that from the beginning, it was still about a few more days to reach the hall. It would take this guy and me no more than an hour. One must take breaks, however. He turned to his companions and said, considering that he had tamed the golden panther, does that mean that the prince has failed the beast tamer exam? Yuntao awkwardly scratched the back of his head and replied that if the master hadn't tamed the golden panther, they might have all died on the spot. Compared to their lives, the exam meant nothing. Zhang asked, what does a tamer need to pass the exam? The prince replied that firstly, one must become an apprentice beast tamer. There are 2 parts to the apprentice's exam, the theoretical book and entertaining wild beasts. Only after passing these 2 parts can one be allowed to take the beast tamer exam. There are also 2 parts of the beast tamer exam itself. First, one must obtain a wild beast recognition. Second, one is required to tame a wild beast. The examinee will be placed in a fence with 5 wild beasts. Within 2 hours, the examinee must gain their approval and prevent them from attacking themselves. Zhang thought about how the beast tamer's exam was similar to the alchemist's exam. To become an apprentice, one must possess sufficient theoretical knowledge. To become an official member, one must possess practically skills. Zhang Xuan told the prince that they could do it. If he wanted to tame another wild beast, he could help him do so. The prince immediately got up from the stone and asked excitedly that did the one want to help him. Zhang replied that yes, he did. If he needed it, it was fine with him. The prince rejoiced and exclaimed that this was great. If the master wants to help him, he will definitely succeed. But Zhang awkwardly asked him not to get excited just yet. Does he have any door in mind? Yuntao said that in fact it is true there is a beast that he can help him with. Zhang asked what kind of beast is it. The prince replied that it was a bird. Zhang clarified that it was a flying beast. The prince awkwardly replied that yes, but it was small, a little bigger than the palm of his hand. Zhang thought to himself, what's so small? Teacher Shen had told him that flying wild beasts came in several meters long and wide. Only with this size could they have enough strength to lift a person into the sky. He imagined a flying four-legged beast. Shenbi approached them and said that a bird of this size couldn't be considered a flying carrier. It could just be considered a bird. Yuntao said that yes, but even so, it is strong. He explained that her strength had reached the initial level of rank 6, so her cultivation level was a bit higher than his. It's not a battle bird, but it's very fast. Zhang asked, "It's small but fast. This kind of bird won't be easy to catch." Yuntao added that it was true, but it had been chasing their team for several days in a row and causing trouble. Shenbi asked what kind of trouble. The prince admitted that one day he destroyed her nest and she got angry. The prince had said that the one was tagging him, doing it right in flight. He recalled archers trying to shoot the black bird with its double long tail. He added that it always hits him, every time. Then it flies off a few dozen meters to provoke them. Once they catch up to her, she flies off to the side again. So he didn't even consider her as an animal to tame. He added that she's too fast, even faster than arrows. He doesn't even know if it's possible to catch her. Zhang said that he doesn't even know the appearance is the beast and its speed. What kind of plan can he come up with? Shenbi looked at him and replied that he said that whenever the strange bird comes and does mischief, it flies a dozen meters forward to laugh at them. The girl added so that it would be close to the ground at that moment. Let him use his movement technique and rush forward, there to grab her. The prince asked that they want to use the movement technique. He is afraid it will be difficult to do so. Even the Tianwu Kingdom's most impressive movement technique, the supersonic step of the heavenly tortoise at top speed, couldn't compare to this strange bird. This bird is faster than human reaction and the arrows themselves. He doesn't think it's possible to catch it with his bare hands. Just then that very bird flew past them. The prince exclaimed that it was here. The bird swiftly flew towards him. Yuntao pointed his finger at the approaching bird and said that it was her. In the next instant, that bird tagged the prince again. Zhang Huang frowned his eyebrows, thinking about the fact that her flight path is clear and understandable. It can be calculated quite well. It seems that beasts of this rank are not to be trifled with. Yuntao shouted to the bird that if it was angry with him, it could just come down and solve everything normally. But at the same moment, Zhang Huang was behind the bird and grabbed it. The prince looked at the place where the teacher had just stood and then at the bird. He asked, "What kind of traveling technique is this?" He had just been here. And Shenbi thought about how he was faster than Wang Yin. Yuntao thought about the fact that did he really underestimate Master Zhang? It was legendary that 9th rank warriors had strong skills as the stabilizing force of the kingdom, and their strength was so great that it was hard to imagine. Zhang held the crow cawing in his hand and said that it was not that fast. Shenbi awkwardly said that she didn't think it was about him. It is just that he is too fast. The bird did not have time to react. Zhang Huang said, "Okay, never mind," and then he called out to the prince. The prince took the little bird in his fist, and he started to carp. The bird also carchered in response. Zhang asked the girl what kind of bird language is that. The girl replied that it must be. The teacher said that it would usually take 3 to 4 days to tame a wild beast and make a contract with a human. The beast must become attached to the man to agree to live with him. When the feelings reach a certain depth, it is possible to tame the beast. Zhang shockedly interjected, "What 3 to 4 days?" Zhang walked over to the prince and asked him to look away. He asked how long it would take him to tame it. The prince along with the bird looked at the guy. Yuntao said that the preliminary estimate was about 2 days. He just chatted with him in a way that he could understand him. In the next moment, the bird sat down and started carping at Zhang Huang. Covering its ear with his finger, Zhang grudgingly said that the one was so loud. "Can't it be any quicker?" Yuntao sadly said, she said that Senior was very rude to her when he grabbed her and she is still angry. 2 days is quite fast. At this moment, the bird turned its head away smugly. The prince continued that if they tried to bargain with her, she would raise the time limit to 10 days or even a month. Zhang asked, 2 days was still not enough. That won't do, he would be tamed in 10 minutes. The prince awkwardly asked, "What 10 minutes? He is afraid it's impossible. A rank 6 beast can't be tamed in 10 minutes. Even the most incredible beast tamer of the beast hall would not be able to do it." Zhang stretched out his hand and told the prince that if he didn't believe it, let him just provide it to him. The prince handed over the bird, replying that it was fine. "Is it really okay to do that?" Zhang took the bird and stepped aside, closer to the golden panther. The prince asked the teacher that Master Zhang was also a tamer. She said no. There are no tamers in their kingdom. Zhang looked fearfully at the bird, and said that he was in a hurry and didn't speak bird language, so he had 2 options for her. 1. Submit as she wanted. 2. He feeds her to the panther. At this moment, the panther yawned loudly and widely. The bird in Zhang's hand looked at the panther fearfully, then turned to Zhang and nodded. Zhang smiled and said that it was a good choice. Good thing he didn't think for long. Zhang turned to his companions and said the bird agreed. Let the prince make the contract. Yuntao replied okay. Zhang told him to hurry up and walk faster. The prince said that he thought that he didn't know about animals. Shenbi awkwardly replied that maybe she didn't know teacher Zhang well. They approached the Hall of Beasts. There were small islands floating in the air. Various animals were flying around. In front of them was a large stone cave entrance. There were many people around. Standing next to the golden panther, Zhang Xuan said that there was such a powerful aura here. Shenbi said admiringly that the Beast Hall had created a spiritual energy formation in the valley so that spiritual flowers and spiritual herbs could grow here. Also, the physique of the wild beasts could improve, increasing the likelihood that they would achieve a breakthrough. Yuntao added that originally this was only a hall. However, as time passed, it turned into a real city. Merchants and descendants of beast tamers began to live here, and eventually the city became like this. He suggested that they go to the Hall of Beasts. As they entered the city, they heard the announcements of merchants. Someone was shouting that a cub of the 7th-ranked beast, a red-tailed fox, was for sale. May the honored buyers not miss the opportunity. Another shouted for them not to bicker. All 10 seats to Hanwu Kingdom's Sebei City have already been taken. If they want to go there, let them come tomorrow. The other shouted that there were 3 vacant seats to Jibei City of Anyuan Kingdom. Let them hurry up or else it will be too late. Zhang asked that can't the beasts escape from here. The principal replied that there are special guards that will bring them back to the place. Yuntao added that the Xuanlo mountain range borders 10 kingdoms at once, with the kingdoms of Beiwu, Hanwu, Tianshuan, and everyone travels here for trade. Every day, many people visit the Beast Hall. Some people come here from far and wide. The Beast Kingdom in the hall is limited, so it's impossible to meet the demand of all these people as well. Therefore, there are limited seats for the airborne beast journey. Some people have to wait for their turn for weeks at a time. Zhang asked fearfully, "What's several weeks?" With a smile, told him not to worry. Once he passes the exam, he will become a shortener, and would be able to reserve a seat on the flying beast, so they wouldn't have to wait like the others. Zhang sighed, thinking about the fact that the man had scared him. He doesn't know when I will start acting. You don't mess around with things like this. He waved his hand and told the prince to hurry up and set the exam. They went out into a large space and the prince said it was the examination hall. There was a guy with brown hair dressed in nice clothes. He asked that wasn't that Yuntao, and why did he come back so quickly? Did he realize that he couldn't pass the exam and decided to return in shame? It was Zhu Jinhuang, the 6th principal of the Baichen Kingdom. Yuntao said disdainfully, "This is the 6th prince of the Baichen Kingdom, Zhu Jinhuang. They are in competition with him." Zhang said that just like Hanwu Kingdom, Baichen Kingdom is the 2nd-ranked kingdom. They are next to each other. But Yuntao said that they are rivals not because of the kingdom, but he couldn't finish because another guy who had gray, almost black hair said to Jinhuang, "Then how can he say that? Didn't he see the golden panther at the door? With such a huge beast, he would definitely pass the exam." It was Zhou Xuan, the 9th principal of the Qianyuan realm, the guy added, except that it didn't sound like this panther belonged to him. After all, it might sound like he wasn't the one who tamed such a beast. Yuntao grudgingly told his companions that it was the 9th principal of the Qianyuan Kingdom, Zhou Xuan. Zhang said that he didn't seem to get along with him either. The prince nodded. Jin Huang asked Yuntao that it couldn't be that he couldn't subdue the beast, so he asked someone to lend him theirs for the exam. Zhou Xuan laughed, and added that this was when he failed the exam. It would even be interesting to see how he would continue to woo Mo Yu. Yuntao shouted that in their opinion he was talentless. None of them are any better than him. Why don't they take an exam first before saying such things? Jin Huang asked. Is that how it is? And he seems to be confident. They will watch him roar a little later. It wasn't just about passing the exam after all. He would also take a look at the grade he received. Yuntao told him to worry about himself. He's afraid he won't even make it to a C. Zhang Huang thought disappointedly that he thought that those like princes were competing over kingdoms and territory. But these guys are because of a girl. Just then a girl on a big golden bird started flying towards them. Someone exclaimed that it was Mo Yu. The red-haired girl jumped off the big eagle that landed next to them. All 3 princes looked at her. Jin Huang said that she was still as beautiful as a love poem. Zhou Xuan added that so is the moon, but they are marek nuts in comparison to her. And Yuntao thought about the fact that Mo Yu's sister had only ended their arguments with her appearance. As expected, Zhang Huang meanwhile turned his attention to the 7th-ranked beast. He thought about the fact that this eagle had reached the last step of the 7th rank, and thus it was much stronger than his golden panther. In addition, somehow he sensed the storm particles in the eagle's aura. Most likely this eagle could not only match the speed of that sidebird, but could even surpass it. Jin Huang walked over to the girl and said that he was sure her skills were incredible. A rank 7 golden eagle beast, surely only she alone could handle such a beast. He was impressed. Zhou Xuan added that of course, there could be more than just a golden eagle here. Any door behind would willingly submit to Mo Yu's will, but the girl ignored them and walked over to Shen Bi and Zhang Xuan. She asked if they were here to take the tamer exam or not. What about Han Qiang? Is she with them? Shen Bi replied that she didn't come. She is here with another friend of hers. Zhang asked her if they knew each other or not. Shen Bi answered him that she met this girl when she was here with Han Qiang last time. Mo Yu went back to the princes, who started courting her again. And Shen Bi said that of course, that one was not only a tamer's apprentice. She heard Han Qiang once let it slip that on top of that, she is the third princess of the Tianyu kingdom. Moreover, she is a one-star alchemist. It is said that she didn't even come here to become a tamer, but to develop moral fortitude. Once all the preparations are completed, she will set the Grand Master exam in her kingdom. Zhang Huang thought shockedly, what was that first-star alchemist? Luck was involved in him becoming a first-star alchemist. In addition, he relied a lot on the strength in the Heaven's Path library. With his current skills, he could only concoct a few standard powders, and creating pills was far from his priority. But to think, this girl with her own strength became a first-star alchemist at such a young age. And she's also a Grand Master's apprentice. No wonder she's called a genius. She definitely deserved to be called that. Just then, an elderly man wearing a warm fur cloak walked out to them. He told them to be quiet. He intends to evaluate them today. The head of the manor and the other elders must be present elsewhere today, so he will be taking the exam in their place. He will carefully follow all instructions and will not accept any bribes or cheating, so don't let them worry. Yun Tao thought to himself, is it Teacher Hong? Normally the head of the hall would conduct the result evaluation. Besides, according to the rules, a second-star shortener must be present at the result evaluation. Although Shortener Hong is in good standing in the Beast Hall, he is still a first star, not qualified enough to take the exam. Teacher Hong said that all the shorteners who have passed the first part of the exam are here today. He believed that each of them had prepared perfectly for the second part as well, so they all knew the order in which it was conducted. To pass successfully, they were required to tame a beast that was stronger than themselves. Although the initial taming is sufficient, they will be awarded different ranks based on the results. Depending on how much the beast's development level is higher than their own, and how loyal the beast is to them, the higher ranks they will receive. There are 3 ranks in total: Rank 1, Rank 2, and Rank 3. On average, loyalty is measured by a value between 15 and 30. The better the performance of the examinee, the higher their rank will be. The teacher added that as he understood, no one would oppose him, right? Then he would start the exam. The first one will be Zhang Xuan. The guy told Taming Hong. Then he had tamed this winged wolf over here. It's a 6th rank elementary stage beast. He held out a large yellow ball that had the number 20 on it. He said that this was their result in the scanning crystal. Zhang Huang thought in surprise, this is a scanning crystal? Back then, during the Will to Enlightenment trial, the same crystal was used to assess Yang Li's confidence level. Is it being used for beasts too? Teacher Hong took out a piece of paper and began to write down. He said that the taming level had reached 20 in just half a month. It meets the condition of initial taming. That's not bad. He assigns him the 2nd rank. Jin Huang held out his crystal, which also had the number 20 on it. With a smug smile, he said 2nd rank. Not bad. Except that he won't lose to him. This was their result on the crystal with the tiger-headed beast. Teacher Hong said good, and he was also awarded 2nd rank. The old man announced that it is now very Mo Yu. Mo Yu Xiaoji tamed the celestial beast, which is much harder because it has a rank 7, so she will definitely get an extra grade increase. The girl held out her yellow ball and told the teacher that this was their Golden Eagle connection measurement result. Teacher Hong said with a smile that the obedience level was 30. This is the 1st rank. Unbelievable. This kind of result hadn't happened for about 30 years. Both princes were surprised by this. Zhang Xuan thought about the fact that although Mo Yu was talented, he didn't expect her to get the 1st rank. Teacher Hong turned to Yun Tao and said that it was now his turn. The boy flinched. Jin Huang and his bear said that they got the 2nd rank, and Mo Yu got the 1st rank. If he had gotten rank 3 in his place, that guy would have fallen through the ground. Zhang Xuan added that he felt like Brother Zhu was overestimating him. What rank 3? He feels like he wouldn't even be able to pass the exam. The guy added that the Golden Panther was not his beast. So who did he tame? Teacher Hong shouted for them to be quiet, then turned to Yun Tao and asked, who did he tame? Isn't it a Golden Panther? Yun Tao awkwardly scratched the back of his head and replied that no, he had tamed a bird. Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Both princes laughed, clutching their bellies. Jin Huang asked through laughter that he had tamed a bird. Why wouldn't he say that he tamed a hammer? Saying such a thing to Tamer Hong's face, how brazen is he? And Zhang Xuan added that he is not insolent, he has something wrong with his head. Jin Huang told Yun Tao that all this time he thought the one was unbelievable. To think that he didn't let him down. To tame no one and declare it with such pride, he was impressed. Zhang Xuan called the guy a suicide bomber, and Teacher Hong irritably turned towards them and shouted for them to be quiet. The old man then looked at Yuntao and asked again who he had tamed. Yuntao said that he really tamed a bird, a strange bird. He realizes it sounds ridiculous, but he really did tame the bird. But he didn't have time to check the connection on the crystal. He said he would show it to her now, and then he whistled. At that moment, that same black bird started circling around them. After making a few circles, it landed on the prince's finger. Jin Huang, surprised, said that he thought he was laughing, but he really had tamed the bird. But what kind of bird is it? Zhang Xuan was also surprised, and asked that this could also be considered taming. Surely he didn't let it out of some cage in the market, Teacher Hong said irritably. Agreeing with the rules of the beast hall, during the second stage of the exam, the candidate must tame a beast that is stronger than him. This bird can be killed with a snap of his fingers, and yet he came to show it to him. Are you trying to make everyone laugh? Yuntao excitedly said that he doesn't want to make anyone laugh. This strange bird might be small, but it is not weak, and it flies with incredible speed. Even rank 6 warriors couldn't catch it. It is definitely a beast. Teacher Hong got even more angry, threw his notebook on the floor and shouted that this was unheard of. Does Yuntao really think that he is at home in the Hanwu kingdom? Does he think that he will be able to fool anyone here? Pointing his finger at the prince's chest, the teacher added that the other examinees had brought normal animals that were fit to pass the second stage, throwing such a serious challenge in the examiner's face, bringing a songbird as proof. Who gave him the right to such unheard of audacity? But Yuntao didn't give up and told Taming Hong that this strange bird was indeed a beast with a development exceeding rank 6. He was no match for her. Jin Huang asked unhappily, "What is the one that hasn't finished yet?" Did he not hear him? Tamer Hong told him to get out. Let him stop embarrassing himself and casting a shadow on the reputation of all tamers. Zhang Xuan added that why don't he give up taming? He wouldn't be a good tamer anyway. He didn't have the talent. If Tamer Hong let him pass, wouldn't that mean that anyone could become a tamer just by buying a bird at the market? Yuntao wanted to say something else to Tamer Hong, but the man turned around to him and shouted that the guy didn't understand him well. Let him get out. He doesn't want to repeat himself a third time. He lets him go on his own. That way he can keep some of his pride. But then Zhang Huang said to Yuntao in a completely calm manner that since all the shorteners in the beast hall are such hopeless fools, he feels that the guy should not worry about this exam. Standing beside him, Shen Bi was shocked. Mo Yu and the two princes froze, thinking about what the man said. To dare to insult the beast tamers, he must be thinking of dying. Yuntao mentally shed tears, thinking that even though he might have failed because of the examiner's biased decision, he would still have the opportunity to make another attempt next year. However, now that those words had offended the beast hall, he would not be allowed to take the exam again. Teacher Hong squinted his eyes as he looked at Zhang. He asked, "What is the other person talking about?" Zhang Huang grudgingly said, ignoring the rules, unable to recognize the wild beast in front of him, acting as he pleased, drawing conclusions without checking the facts. If he is not a useless fool, then who else is? Jin Huang shockedly asked, "What is that beast tamer lecturing Hun?" Even the hallmaster Feng wouldn't dare to say that. Zhou Xuan asked, "Who is this guy?" And then he noticed that beast tamer Hong was furious. And indeed, Tamer Hong irritatedly asked, "What did the guy say that he ignored the rules and was unable to mark a wild beast?" Letting out a fiery energy around him, the man said that he, Hong Feng, had been a beast tamer for 37 years. He had tamed 24 wild beasts and trained 118 disciples. 3 of them even became beast tamers. Although he didn't claim to have reached the depths of the beast taming art, he was still not the kind of person who would talk nonsense. However, the one said that he ignored the rules and was unable to mark a wild beast. If he doesn't explain himself now, regardless of who he is, let him not even hope to get off lightly. Zhang Huang asked calmly, the one refusing to admit his mistakes and wanting to attack him. And Shen Bi excitedly told him that they are not in their kingdom. He shouldn't be so adamant. The girl added that this hall is surrounded by a lot of beasts, the weakest of which is an initial stage of the 7th rank. If he causes trouble, they won't be able to get out. Just then, 3 people entered the room. The first one was Hallmaster Feng, a tall man with a scar over one eye. He asked what was wrong. To his right stood a young man who was a Wang beast tamer. He had black hair and a scarf was tied on his face. To the left of the master stood a short old man who was the beast tamer Liu. Yuntao frightenedly thought that it was Hallmaster Feng, beast tamer Liu, and beast tamer Wang. They are all 2nd-star beast tamers. Didn't beast tamer Hong say that they were busy? Why are they here? Prince Jin Huang said that this guy has challenged the prestige of the assurance hall. It seems that he is finished. Zhou Xuan said that is correct. The Tianwu kingdom is only a 2nd-tier kingdom. How can it resist the anger of the beast hall? Master Feng sternly asked Zhang, What did he say that Hung Feng ignored the rules and did not identify the wild beast in front of him? Did he know that his words were questioning his professionalism? For a beast slaughterer, those words were equivalent to losing his reputation. Zhang Xuan had already irritatedly said that when one makes a mistake, one must be held accountable for it. As for reputation, it is none of his business. Besides, he wants to ask, what kind of bird is that? He pointed his finger at the prince who had a small black bird sitting on his finger. The hallmaster looked at it and thought, isn't it just a bone bird? Hung Feng said that although it was rare, he had once seen a description of this bird in a book. The name of the bird is bone bird. It is said that this bird has an extra bone on its back that supports its body. Although this bird is a type of wild animal, but this kind of bird is usually used for ornamental purposes as they don't have fighting ability. Tamer Liu added that it has a black back, red beak, and golden talons. There are 3 feathers on her back that make a clear sound while flying. Thus, its melodious singing does not actually come from its throat, but from the feathers on its back. Zhang Xuan asked what they thought it was a bone bird. The hallmaster said that it must be her. You can clearly see a protruding bone on her back. Zhang Xuan said that while it was flying, a melody should be heard. But when it just flew by, did any of them hear it? Hung Feng remembered that moment, and was surprised to think that the strange bird had flown by several times, but no sound was heard. Zhang reached out his hand to the bird and it sat on his finger. He said that the claws of this strange bird were golden, but there was a red dot in the center of its claw. Also, there is a crown on the top of her head. Also, instead of 1, it has 3 bones protruding from its back, and it doesn't have any sonic feathers. The hallmaster asked if it is not a bone bird, then what is it? Zhang raised his hand above the arm that the bird was sitting on and loudly declared that it was an ancient beast, the lightning sparrow. Everyone present was shocked, opening their mouths. The hallmaster thought about the fact that there were many different kinds of wild beasts, but it was the ancient beast that had the strongest bloodline of all, but they were extinct. He traveled through the forests, climbed various mountains, and researched countless legends and folklore of the world, but he still couldn't find any traces of the ancient beasts. However, one of them appeared right here, and it was tamed by Yun Tao. Hong Feng exclaimed that this was impossible. Even if this beast is not a bone bird, it is impossible for it to be an ancient beast. They are all already extinct. Tamer Liu added that the ancient bloodline has ceased to exist. Even if there are still ancient beasts, they must have already reached the level of spirit beasts. How could they be an ordinary wild beast? Zhou Xuan said with a chuckle. If he didn't want to embarrass himself even further, let him better shut up. Jin Huang added that the one who said this strange bird was an ancient beast? What a joke. Then his tiger-headed beast should be the original beast, but Zhang irritably said that it was useless to say more. If he wasn't wrong, the beast hall should have a way to figure out the bloodline, right? It didn't matter if they believed him or not. They would know the answer once they ran a test. Hallmaster Feng looked at the bird and thought that in ancient times, the spiritual energy in the air was cruel and harsh. It was far from the current one. To contain the destructive forces, the blood in the body of wild beasts would begin to bubble up like boiling water. If the strange bird was indeed an ancient beast, the other wild beasts would surely not be able to resist the might of a single drop of its blood. Master told Tamer Liu to prepare a similar one. What does he still want to use for this beast? Master replied that if it really is an ancient beast, it will be a sensation. That's what the rules say anyway. Liu replied that was fine. After a small amount of time, Hallmaster Feng held a small cage in his hand, which contained a small grayin beast. He said that this was their test rat for such occasions. Now they just need to give it a taste of blood. The bird opened its beak, and Zhang Huang pulled out a small drop of blood from it with his strength, saying that it was time to show himself. He swung his hand toward the beast, shoving a drop of blood into its mouth. Blood came out of the flower's mouth. His eyes reddened and rolled, and he was trembling all over. The next instant he fell. Hallmaster Feng was shocked. He thought about the fact that this one was low level, but it was immune to the ordinary blood of high-level beasts. How could this be possible? Tamer Wang asked the gloomy man how could she die like that. The man replied that it was because it was an ancient beast. Everyone present was shocked. Yun Tao admired Master Zhang, and teacher Hong Feng fell to the floor. The teacher thought in shock that had he really made a mistake. Jin Huang asked in surprise, was this really an ancient beast? Was he just mocking an ancient beast? Zhou Xuan added that they both said that he was not worth a penny. They would be in trouble. Shenbi looked at Zhang in surprise and thought about the fact that even the hallmaster didn't realize that it was an ancient beast. But this person understood everything at once. Who was he? Is he really from a small kingdom like Tianshuan? Sitting down next to the animal's cage, Master Feng said that the blood of ancient beasts was full of the spiritual energy of ancient times. It is like boiling water. It is overflowing with power. Ordinary beasts are unable to withstand it, including this rat. Zhang Xuan said that the ancient lightning cloud sparrow has the ability to absorb lightning to awaken its bloodline. The claws of the ancient sparrow are stiff and sharp, allowing it to easily tear apart medium weapons, not to mention human flesh. When it reaches the 7th rank, it will become invincible. Looking at teacher Hung Feng, Zhang added that not only was the teacher unwilling to realize his mistake, but he was willing to teach him a lesson. So this is how he evaluates wild beasts? What gave him the confidence to immediately recognize Yuntao's failure and ask him to get out? The man lowered his head regretfully, admitting it was his carelessness. Zhang thought about the fact that he had stunned the bird on the way here and created a book about it. If Master Hong had originally listened to him, he wouldn't have pressed so hard. But the man was so confident that he didn't even allow for the possibility of a mistake. The hallmaster stated that since it was the fault of their beast hall, they would not shirk responsibility. They would give Yuntao another chance to pass the exam. As for beast tamer Hong, because of his negligence, he will be sent to the beast forest to cultivate wild beasts. And for 3 years, he must not leave this place. Jin Huang shockedly asked, wasn't that too harsh? Sending beast tamer Hong to the beast forest for 3 years just because of this? Furthermore, forbidding him from leaving this place. Zhou Xuan agreed with him. Zhang leaned over to Prince Yuntao and asked, what kind of place is this place with the beast forest? Is it a strict punishment? The guy replied that as far as he knew, the beast forest is a place where wild animals grow. It is like a pigsty. Usually only students go there. Taking teacher Hong away, Tamer Wang regretfully said that the same was a 1-star tamer, and it was so difficult for him to achieve it. How could one make such mistakes? The man sadly said that it was because the same said that he had tamed the bird. He just didn't know what to do. Hallmaster Feng said the 2nd exam for Yuntao. Yuntao is thinking about such a valuable beast, and Master Zhang has generously helped him to tame it. When all this is over, he will definitely return this beast to Master Zhang. And Zhang Huang patted the guy on his shoulder, and said with a smile that this time he should pass. Mo Yu walked up to Zhang and said that if he was able to recognize the ancient beast, he must be a tamer too. The guy looked at her and replied that no, he wasn't. The girl exclaimed in surprise. What? Then how did he identify her? And how did he make her obey? Zhang smiled and said that maybe she liked him. But the girl thought about the fact that if one could just like an animal, would someone study them so diligently? Mo Yu said that since he doesn't want to admit it, she has no right to force him. She will give him the jade blood training from Grandmaster in 2-star Jiangsu if he tells her. Hearing this, Shen Bi was shocked. She thought that this 2-star Grandmaster was the most incredible mentor in the Tianwu Kingdom. In addition, she's on a great account in the Tianwu Grandmaster Pavilion. His jade brooch training is priceless even though it only lasts for 2 hours. But Zhang Hong turned away from the girl, and while picking his nose, he replied that he was not interested. Mo Yu was shocked and told him to think again. It's 2 stars. On the yellow stone, the number 40 popped up. Taking it in his hands, Hallmaster Feng thought to himself, what is this obedience level 40? Isn't this an advanced taming? Taming shows 15 to 30 obedience on the crystal. At this level, a tamer can easily summon his beast. Mo Yu thought about the fact that at advanced, the obedience level was from 35 to 45. How did he do that? Master Feng thought that reaching the level of advanced taming with an ancient beast was already a great achievement. That being said, the strange bird's obedience level had reached 40. This meant that the bird was very far from just following Yuntao. There was already a pact between them. He asked the guy, how did he manage to do this? The guy scratched the back of his head awkwardly, not sure what to say. The master also felt awkward, and told the guy that if he was uncomfortable, he may not speak. Yuntao said that was not true. In fact, it was all thanks to Master Zhang. He threatened this bird, and it gave up. The masters were surprised, and Tamer Liu asked, how could an ancient beast be tamed in this way? Hallmaster Feng thought about the fact that there was no precedent for an ancient beast to be tamed in this beast hall. Everyone thought that to tame an ancient beast, one should use the same method as with other beasts. Treat it with caution and care. Befriend it before trying to tame it. Could the key to taming them be simple violence? Master asked Yuntao, where is Master Zhang that he is talking about? Could they pay him a visit? Yuntao stated that there was no need for that. The master is here. The guy pointed towards the teacher. The hallmaster asked, he is Master Zhang. The prince said that the master may be young, but his ability in taming beasts is incredible. He tamed a golden panther in less than 10 minutes after seeing it for the first time. Feng was surprised that he had tamed her in such a short time. He asked the prince what method did he use. Maybe he used a female to attract him. Or did he satisfy his gluttony? Tamer Liu asked it was definitely not some traditional method. Well then, what was it? Yuntao laughed awkwardly, replying that Master Zhang did not use any of these methods. Senior Zhang Huang beat up this golden panther and then it submitted to him. The masters were surprised by this, thinking to themselves that maybe they had caught a masochist. Yun Tao confessed that it was actually his intention to tame the golden panther for the exam, but he underestimated its strength and almost died. Master Zhang had saved them. After Senior had beaten that beast, he had completely surrendered and obeyed him, initiating the contract of his own accord. In truth, the elder was unwilling to accept it. If it wasn't for his conviction, he would have refused him. Master Feng sadly thought about the fact that to others, to tame the wild beasts, their kingdom provided a huge amount of manpower and an impressive fortune. However, they had only managed to achieve initial taming, and the wild beast could stop them any moment, and this guy had tamed the beast without any extra cost. When did being a tamer become so easy? Tamer Liu thought about the fact that he was able to subdue even an ancient beast in such a short time. Master Feng thought that one definitely had talent, and then his eyes glistened because he had thought of something. Meanwhile, Zhang Huang was disappointed because he thought that they would give the prince a rank and they were standing. Feng asked the prince with a smile, "What do you get that tamer?" Yun Tao replied that no, he hadn't taken the exam yet. Maybe he is just an amateur who studies beast taming little by little in his spare time. Feng asked, "He hasn't taken the exam?" Feng excitedly asked the guy if he could help him, ask him if he was ready to become a beast tamer. If he wanted to, he would give him a customized exam. Yun Tao asked in surprise, what would the guy take the beast tamer's exam? He helped him to ask him. Master Feng had a sly look on his face. He was thinking that with his incredible abilities and means of taming beasts, he would surely shine like a star when he became an official beast tamer. Perhaps this branch of the Beast Hall could become famous because of his influence. More importantly, if he really possesses the ability to tame a wild beast just by beating it, then if he were to take part in the competition, he would definitely be able to win first place. Yun Tao walked over to Zhang Xuan and said with a smile, Hallmaster Feng said that if he wanted to pass the Beast Tamer exam, he would give him a customized exam. Zhang thought about the fact that as long as there were books, there was no problem. But as Yun Tao said, the second phase of the Beast Tamer exam would take half a month by itself. The poison issue in the case must be resolved as soon as possible, and there was no time to waste. He calmly said that he would refuse. Yun Tao said that it was a good opportunity. Hallmaster Feng would personally conduct the exam. Furthermore, as an official beast tamer, not only would he get to freely choose among the flying beasts, he wouldn't need to pay any fees or anything like that. In fact, he would be able to freely choose any riding beasts in the beast halls. But the guy didn't have time to finish because Zhang Huang's eyes glistened. He rubbed his palms together, asking that there was no need to pay. You mean for free? Yun Tao awkwardly replied that all tamers have that right. Zhang put his arm around the guy's neck, hanging on him, and said with a smile, If you don't have to pay, everything changes. So how to pass the exam? He will try to do it. Hearing all this, Mo Yu asked indignantly, What's he going to try to pass the exam? He thinks becoming a tamer is a joke. Only by wanting to will he be able to pass it. He had only tamed 2 doors, and he was starting to think that taming was easy. But Shen Bi interrupted her by exhaling and telling her not to worry so much. She doesn't know what that guy is up to, but most of what you want this guy to do comes true, so she advises to just observe and keep quiet. Mo Yu looked at the blonde girl incomprehensibly. Hallmaster Feng walked over to Zhang Huan and said with a smile, he heard that he had not participated in the exam before. Since he was able to tame a rank 6 beast and was able to talk about the ancient lightning sparrow, it proves his profound knowledge of taming. Therefore, he would skip to the tamer apprentice exam. The man added that it would, however, be difficult to assess how deep his understanding of beasts was without a student exam. He will skip the apprenticeship exam entirely and instead add a theoretical part to his exam. But then Zhang Huang interrupted him, asking if they had any books on taming. Could he take a look at them? Mr. Feng was surprised by this, but said that the library was full of taming books. Normally only tamers and apprentices are allowed to use them, but he gave him special permission but to read and write now. Zhang looked at the masters with a smile and explained that it was just his habit. He gets very nervous before important events, and reading books calms him down and puts his mind in order. Therefore, he apologized to Hallmaster Feng for the inconvenience. The man replied that okay, the library is behind that door. He pointed with his hand and then asked Master Lu to escort the boy out. Zhang thanked him. Jin Huang asked his friend, Is this guy even normal? What's the point of reading books now? Zhou Xuan replied that the guy is not normal, otherwise why would he do it? Mo Yu asked that he was really going to read books, and Shen Bi shockingly thought about the last time in the Knowledge Pavilion, in the academy, he had flipped through books just like this casually. Could it be that? It is said that those who have attained insight consciousness, serene introductory clades, and soul depths of 10 or higher, have a photographic memory. Then just by flipping through a book, such a person will remember its contents until death. Upon entering the library, Zhang Xuan was shocked. He seemed small against the room. He thought about the fact that there were too many books here. Even after spending 3 days and 3 nights, he won't make it. At first he thought it would be easy to pass the exam, but he would spend a lot of time on the book alone. If he doesn't go crazy, the people outside waiting for him will. Tensing up, he strenuously thought about the fact that if he didn't look after all these books, the Heaven's Path Library wouldn't create the unifying scrolls, and if the question was on the book he missed, he would fail the exam. If so, he wouldn't have the marvelous free travels that all tamers are entitled to. When he touched one of the bookcases, he said that the Library of the Celestial Way allows him to get information about the inaccuracies of objects and information from them with a single touch. If he touched the bookcase, would the contents of his books be transmitted to him? We'll have to give it a try. After that, he found himself in the Library of the Heavenly Path. Zhang was glad that she had shown up. What a good boy he was. Now he's going to see what it says. Joyfully opening the book, he read that it was the Swanlow Mountain Beast Hall, the bookcase in the 3rd row. Crafted by a level 1 craftsman, the wood used for its manufacture was camphor wood. It has a history of 37 years. Throwing the book on the floor, Zhang irritably shouted that this was not what he wanted. Sitting down tiredly, he thought to himself, who created this library in the first place? There must be another way. Looking at the bookshelf again, Zhang said that he gains information just by touching the item. What if he just touched the book? Touching one of them, he thought he should give it a try. Zhang Xuan was glad that his method was working. He thought about the fact that he could read 100 times faster this way.